Many thanks for your time this evening. Welcome to Newsnight. My name is Kenneth, Gyasi, and just a while ago we had President John Dramani Mahama speaking from the Jubilee House, where the Asantehene Otunfo Osei presented the mediation report on the Boku mediation efforts. We'll be hearing some expert analysis on that. And also ahead tonight, Supreme Court holds the Pandai Parliamentary Rerun scheduled for December 30th, pending the determination of Matthew Nyindam's certiorari application challenging the High Court's decision to annul the December 7th election results.
I do not really understand when somebody says it was a balanced ruling. What's the meaning of a balanced ruling? The courts were clear. The Honorable Court expressed their serious dissatisfaction, first of all, with the absence of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And the Honorable Court said they found that even more dissatisfaction.
So we ask, what does this mean for Matthew Nyindam and his battle to remain in Parliament?
It does not affect Nyindam's position regarding his return to the House. He remains not an MP. Supreme Court has not annulled or overturned the decision of the High Court.
Also ahead tonight, minority opposes provision in new Bank of Ghana Act amendment bill seeking to compel the central bank to consult government in determining medium-term inflation target. We take you live to Parliament, where the minority is calling for ministerial reshuffle following the absence of agric and public sector reform ministers to take questions from MPs. Coming up in business,
some oil marketing companies signal intention to review prices before close of this week as they delay in adjusting prices of the pounds as projected from today.
And as we continue the countdown to the annual Joy FM party in the park, we explore the importance of family bonding and the opportunity the event offers families.
Spending intentional time together, away from routine and distractions, allows families to reconnect.
These and many other stories coming up in the next 1 hour. You can be a part of this show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Let's begin with this developing story tonight, because the Asantehene Otunfo Osei the second has formally presented the Boku Peace Mediation Report to President John Dramani Mahama a while ago, and it's as part of renewed efforts to secure lasting peace in the conflict zone. And the presentation took place today, minutes ago. John Dramani Mahama was speaking there, and of course proceedings began with the arrival of traditional chiefs and invited stakeholders, where President John Dramani Mahama said that Boku has the potential of becoming a big economic hub in the country if the issues are dealt with properly. And he said that in the next 24 hours he's going to ensure that the report is made public there. Let's get more from this and speak to Stephen Asamoah Boateng, who's a former Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Grateful for your time this evening. Of course, you've been part of this journey all this while. What do you make of what took place at the Jubilee House a while ago?
Thank you for your time and asking me to be part of this whole discussion. It's very, very happy day. I'm full of excitement, with a think of cautiousness, because this is an age-old issue that we have tackled head-on. And as you rightly said, it started from the old government, and I'm happy President John Dramani Mahama acknowledged that during the transition period, it was one of the key areas that the former president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, indicated he should keep an eye there. I also, in my own handing over reports, also highlighted Boku as a key commercial center, but the war has basically run down the place, so we must put attention there, not just to resolve the issue and bring peace, but also develop the place to go back to what Boku used to be when we were all growing up, to a center of business and commercial activity. So I'm very happy. 2-4, as we rightly acknowledge, has started the mediation and brought the two sides together, sometimes separately, and finally, about a month ago, all of them met face to face. Following that, he has prepared a report, and I have also been working behind the scenes, although I am no more in government, but Boku matter is not whether you are in government or not. It's about the peace of our people. And so I've reached out to the Nairis Palace. I've reached out to the Boku Nabas Palace. I've also reached out to the youth of both sides. I've also reached out to some actors, including my own brothers, Awoka and others, Mahama. So I've been talking to all of them. And the tone of all the discussion has been very positive. And so I'm happy. What I'm hoping is that nobody speaks at this stage on both sides. At the moment, everybody must just hold their fort a bit. Indeed, there's no need for talking. It's, as the President, John Dramani Mahama said, is the next phase. The next phase is action phase. It's also the most daunting phase. In Kumasi and Accra, it's not difficult. You do all the talking here, but the action is on the ground, isn't it?
It is.
And so I expect that the recommendation in it, as the President indicated, would be reported. I mean, the government will put its case or its acceptance and its opinion on it by the next 24 hours, which is very positive. It's action-oriented speech by the President. And I'm happy he's going ahead, and we'll all be part. We would play our role. We will bring both sides together, and we'll see how it goes. There must be a movement to Naligu. There must be a movement to Boku proper. There must also we should also look at. I mentioned the youth of the area. That's all we are doing. Is to help the youth and the next generation to live in peace. So we should engage the youth activity. What is it that we can bring on board?
Right.
Sometimes development issues, sports activity, and also employment. Not necessarily creating huge employment opportunities, but people want to engage themselves in something. Let's engage them. So these are the areas I'm looking at.
Right. Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, while we wait for the recommendation to be made public tomorrow, though, there were some suggestions from the various political caucus, which was heralded by PNC's National Chairman Samson Awingobe, that there should be the involvement of political parties in this mediation effort. Is that something you subscribe to?
I'm very worried when political actors get involved in chieftaincy matters. The advantage I have is I'm from a royal home, and I'm also from the palace, so I understand the angle of the chieftaincy issues. But because I'm outwardly a politician, I try to get out of the details of it and rather find the key pillars in the chieftaincy institution to deal with it. And today, seeing the National House of Chiefs president there, seeing the Peace Council members there, and don't forget our religious affairs too.
Yeah.
It gladdens my heart. And I'm not sure we should get involved. I mean, politicians, we should leave it as it is now. The three-way approach is for the House of Chiefs and the religious bodies. The three of them. Of course, the religious bodies combine that with the Peace Council. So let's have a tripod approach. For angle, the Peace Council, religious affairs, and then the National House of Chiefs. And then let the politicians stay out. Let the president and his ministers stay out. We will talk. We will engage ourselves. I will talk to them. I believe they will call me. And as I speak, they are listening to me. The last time you spoke to me, as soon as I finished, they called me.
Right.
And I reached out. And that is good news for us, that we are from different sides of the political divide. But we talk, especially when it's about peace and about the country's development.
Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, glad you could join us this evening. That's the former Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. So let's really understand the numbers behind this decades-old conflict. And Caleb Ziblim of our research desk is joining me in studio for more. Caleb, what do we know about the Boku conflict? How long has it lasted, and how many lives have been lost so far?
Yes, Ken. So we know the Boku conflict goes back as far as the 1950s, meaning that there has been more than 75 years of unrest in the area. And over this period, there have been conflicts, has manifested in various forms, including prolonged legal disputes, outbreaks of violence, destruction of property, and unfortunately, the loss of lives. And finding the exact number of deaths has been difficult because there's no official document that lists the number of deaths in the area. But then in 2023, the former MC for the Boku area disclosed that nearly 200 people had been killed within 3 years. That's just from 2021 to 2023 alone. 200 lives have been lost in just those 3 years. So it's significant. And then we also know that following the 2024 election, Boku was one of the first places that the President Mahama visited after assuming office in January. And in fact, he visited the area just 7 days into his presidency. But despite these efforts, the violence flared up in the early part of this year. And then during that period, 2 police officers were shot dead. The residence of the police commander in the area was set on fire. And then there was an attempted arson on the home of the majority leader, Mahama Yorga.
That's quite worrying. But what do we know about the mediation process? When did it start and how long has it lasted?
So we've been unable to find the exact days that the former president Akufo-Addo contacted the Asantehene. But then today, when the Asantehene was speaking, he said that the former president Akufo-Addo contacted him about 2.5 years ago. So this means that the mediation process likely started in late 2023. And then on 15th April this year, the Ministerial Palace issued a statement confirming that President Mahama had asked the Asantehene to renew his mediation efforts. And then the process started officially on 28th April 2025. So that's when the renewed mediation effort started. So it started about 2.5 years ago. That was late 2023. And then on April 28, 2025, the Asantehene renewed their mediation efforts at the request of President Mahama.
Caleb Ziblame is with our research desk. Thank you very much, Caleb. Let's go to the Upper East region where Boku is located and speak to our resident correspondent, Albert. Albert, how are people in the area reacting to this mediation report that was presented to President John Mahama today?
It's almost curfew time at 8 p.m., so we haven't heard of any major reactions yet. What we understand is that the security agencies have been putting measures on the ground. They've erected a number of new checkpoints on various roads leading into the town. There have been a lot more patrols in the Boku township today. And as the Asantehene was presenting his report to the president, a lot of people were monitoring, watching on their TV screens from their various homes. But as we speak now, we haven't heard of any jubilations or any disturbances whatsoever, probably because a lot of people are already indoors because it is getting dark and very soon it will be curfew time. So we don't have much in terms of reactions as we speak.
Albert, there is our resident correspondent in the Upper East region. Thank you very much. And if you're just joining us, the Otumfuo Asantehene Osei-Tutu II's Boku mediation effort report is asking government to ensure recognition of Asigri Abugrago Azoka as the chief of Boku and head chief of the Kusase traditional area. The Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II has also been presenting his findings to President John Dramani Mahama. Let's listen.
The final recommendation, Mr. President, I recommend that my brother, the Nigeri, accepts the laws as presently constituting Asigri Abugrabu Azoka as the chief of Boku and head chief of the Kusasi traditional area. We chiefs, no matter how exalted, do not live above the Constitution of Ghana and the laws duly enacted and affirmed by the courts. Accordingly, the laws which recognizes Asigri Abugragu Azoka must be enforced by the government of the Republic of Ghana until changed in accordance with the 1992 Constitution or reviewed by the Supreme Court of Ghana. The government must enforce the laws and deal sternly with any person challenging the lawful authority of the Abugra Azoka. This is critical to the restoration and maintenance of peace in Kusasi traditional area.
So that's the Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II speaking to John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic, asking him to enforce the recognition of Asigri Abugrago Azoka as the chief of Boku and head chief of the Kusasi traditional area. And he's also recommended the setting up of a reconciliation committee there.
Mr. President, I want to suggest that I was going to meet them again. We set up a mediation process where we would, reconciliation and everything, the way things have happened, where the Peace Council, and then we nominate some lawyers from their side, from each side, and others, and we form a committee to go through that. Then we start a reconciliation process. Whilst talking to them, I realized also that arms and everything were there. And all those, I spoke to them. I think we can find a way to get them to go and find a safe place for them to go and leave it. Maybe an appeasement of some 500, going, not by the government, by the National Peace Council, myself and some people, we can do that also. That I tested the pulse and I believe it can be done. So now it's up to you to implement what I have said, Mr. President. I wanted to read that because I didn't want it to come from you, for them to charge you that you've changed the report. So.
Please be seated. Please. Shall we please give His Royal Majesty another big round of applause?
Right, and this is a major development story that is coming from the Jubilee House moments ago. And if you're just joining us, Otum 482, the second Boku mediation report has been presented to President John Dramani Mahama, where he's asking government to enforce recognition of Asigri Abugrago Azoka as the chief of Boku and head of the Kusasi traditional area. And he's also recommended the setting up of a reconciliation committee there. Let's now head to the courts because the Supreme Court has halted the Kpandai Parliamentary Rerun scheduled for December 30th, pending the determination of Matthew Nyindam's certiorari application. This decision comes after Matthew Nyindam challenged the Tamale High Court's ruling, which annulled his 2024 election victory due to alleged irregularities. The Supreme Court's intervention has put the Electoral Commission's plans on hold, with the case adjourned to January 13th, 2026. And of course, Matthew Nyindam's lawyers argue that the High Court lacked jurisdiction as the petition was filed outside the constitutional 21-day window. And the outcome of this case will determine Matthew Nyindam's fate and set a precedent for electoral disputes in the country. And my colleague Fatau Bayaga was at today's hearing and is joining me in the studio for a blow-by-blow account of what really happened in court. Fatau, tell us what happened.
Ken, counsel for the applicant, Gary Nimako Mafo, made some very interesting arguments in court. He said that they took so many steps to serve the first interested party, that's the NDC's candidate, Daniel Nsalawakpal, with the judicial review application, but all the steps that they took proved futile, and he therefore prayed to the court to allow them to serve the NDC's candidate through a substituted service. So after some extensive exchanges between the council and then a 5-member panel presided over by Justice Gabriel Porman, with Justice Omaru Tanko Amadu, Justice Yoni Kolendi, Justice Samuel Esedu, and Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, granted the request. Now the court then ordered that the service on the NDC's candidate be effected by posting the processes at his residence, and also posting the service on notice boards at the Tamale High Court, the District Court at Pandai, and also sending him a message on WhatsApp, or sending the orders to him on WhatsApp. And according to the court, Ken, the court directed that the processes remain posted for about 7 days, and after that it will be deemed effective. That's basically what happened in court today.
Interesting. And on what basis did the court grant the application for substituted service, and what form will the service take?
Yeah, so basically that's exactly what really happened. The legal team for the MPP candidate spoke about the fact that they tried every means to serve the NDC's candidate. They could not get him, and that's the reason why they came to court, for the court to grant them a substituted service, and that was what happened in court today.
And Fatal, we understand the judges were unhappy that no officials of the Electoral Commission were present in court. Tell us more.
Yes, so one of the judges, Justice Isifu Omaru Tanko Amadu, he in fact criticized the EC for not attending this very important, hearing today. In fact, he said that the EC is very important when it comes to this particular case. So he was wondering, or he was surprised that they could not show up in court, even though they were represented by Justice Justin Amanovo. He was there for the EC, but he said that the EC has about 5 directors, so he was surprised that none of them came to court today.
And you've also been engaging some officials of the MPP after the court's decision. First, what did the former Information Minister, Fatima Abubakar, tell you?
Yeah, so she worked with the applicant's legal team and welcomed the suspension or the suspension of this particular case by the Supreme Court. She described it as very important. We can take a listen to it.
First of all, I would like to express our most profound gratitude to the bench. The Honorable Court, in the interest of justice, has listened to the prayer of the legal counsel for the applicant and has ordered that the second interested party, which is the Electoral Commission, should suspend all preparations towards conducting the rerun in Pandai constituency on 30th December and wait until such a time that the main or the substantive case, which is the application for an order of certiorari from this court seeking to quash the judgment delivered by the High Court in Tamale on 24th November 2025. Also, the Honorable Court has ordered that we serve the first interested party, or Mr. Nsala Wakpal, the NDC parliamentary candidate by substituted service, through his WhatsApp, the High Court Tamale notice board at the Supreme Court, and also at his residence in Pandai. So we are most grateful to the court.
And Fatal, you've also been engaging other persons at the Supreme Court earlier today. Who else did you speak to?
Yes, so former Defense Minister Dominic Nitu was there, and basically what he said was that they were happy that the court took this particular decision. In fact, he said that they were happy because natural justice had taken place and that the MPP believes in the rule of law. So you can listen to him.
For us, we are happy that natural justice is taking its course, and as far as we are concerned, we will work with the court along the line to ensure that we get justice, because we believe that we have a case. It's as simple as that. That is the rule of law, and we in the MPP, we believe in the rule of law. And for us, justice and the rule of law should take its course. As long as the courts have accepted substituted service, he's going to be served. We'll come back to court on the 13th of January, where the main case will continue. And for us, we think that the courts have done what they need to do by agreeing on substituted service, and we think that that's the right thing to be done. And we are happy with what has happened.
That's the former Defense Minister Dominic Nitu, and already the Supreme Court's decision has sparked fresh political and legal reactions over the disputed Pandai seat and the status of MPP's Matthew Nyindam. Majority Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo insists the ruling does not restore Mr. Nyindam's position, maintaining that he remains a persona non grata in Parliament.
It does not affect Nyindam's position regarding his return to the House. He is not an MP. Supreme Court has not annulled or overturned the decision of the High Court. He is no longer an MP. And that communication has been given to the Electoral Commission. They've subsequently issued or consequently issued the rerun notice. What the Supreme Court simply has done is that what is slated for the 30th of December for the elections to be held is suspended. A suspension is not co-terminus or synonymous with annulment. So nobody should suggest that Nyindam will be recalled to this House. It won't happen. He will remain a persona non grata until this matter is finally determined on its merit, whether the appeal or the certiorari.
So that's the Majority Chief with Roxanne Nelson Dafiamapo there. And meanwhile, constitutional lawyer Justice Abdullah has described the ruling as fair and procedurally sound, saying the court acted within its mandate by preserving the status quo.
So I think the Supreme Court, on this particular occasion, got it absolutely right, thought through all the options, and came out with arguably one of the best decisions that favors both parties. It's a balancing decision that each party never goes home dry. Remember, they've not thrown away the judgment because the decision has not been made yet.
Okay.
They are only asking for suspension of the decision, which invariably also means that the member of parliament, the old member of parliament, at this point sits in between.
And meanwhile, Kwapim North MP Sami Oku is also arguing that the decision should be seen as a unanimous determination by the apex court and not a compromise between parties.
Let me put it on record that I do not really understand when somebody says it was a balance ruling. What's the meaning of a balance ruling? The courts were clear. The Honorable Court expressed their serious dissatisfaction, first of all, with the absence of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And the Honorable Court said they found that even more disrespectful that the Commission could make time to attend the Supreme Court on a serious matter that borders on the legitimacy of a fee. Where the belief is that we won fairly, the Electoral Commission affirmed our win, and then through the back door and mathematical gymnastics, and with the obsession of cleaning the constitutional dictates of our country, and seek a third-term mandate for the sitting president through the back. They are trying to all manner of Machiavellian tactics. Yes, so the Electoral Commission, they were not in court. Their lawyers came. Their lawyers even had to apologize on their behalf. And the court found it very disrespectful.
So that's Kwapim North MP Sami Oku. We've also been hearing from the NDC's Deputy Director of Elections and IT, Rashid Tanko Computer, who has welcomed the development, saying it gives the party more time to regroup and strengthen its campaign in Pandai ahead of any possible rerun.
The Supreme Court says they should suspend the election. Supreme Court didn't say we should suspend campaign. They said suspend the election. They said they didn't cancel it. The wording is suspend the rerun. They didn't say cancel the rerun. So I should wait until 13th when they give me that, okay, you can now go ahead. Then I use only 2 days to go and do the election. No. The Supreme Court says I'm going following by their dictates. It's very clear. Suspend the election whilst we wait for the NPP to go in for their substituted service. The burden lie on them. They should go with that route. We are here. We are not fugitive. We are here. We are in the country. If they succeed in that, fine. We'll come on the 13th. And they won't come on the 13th.
If they succeed in what? If they succeed in what?
Substituted service. They say substituted service.
Are you trying to say that your candidate is not going to be available for substituted service?
Our candidate is live and kicking.
It's now time for business, and George is here with the latest. George, what have you got for us?
Well, coming up in business, some oil marketing companies signal intention to review prices before close of this week. Some delay in adjusting numbers at the pumps as projected. And Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama urges commercial banks to support real sector of the economy after policy rate cut. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Sinter Stanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal. You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, some oil marketing companies have given the firm assurance that they would move to reduce prices at the pumps before the close of this week. We have details in the following Business Desk report.
This is coming after an industry data projected that prices of petroleum products will be going down by as much as 4% per litre from today. However, checks by Joy Business show that most of them have not adjusted as at the close of work today. Some of the firms have told Joy Business that there are still some calibrations they have to undertake, which has led to the delay. However, they are sure that the reduction will happen before the end of this week. Others have also argued that they are still negotiating with their suppliers, and that is why prices have not changed at the pumps yet. Joy Business is also learning that others may not review their prices at all. There are currently more than 200 oil marketing companies in the country, According to the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, the reduction has been influenced by declining prices of finished petroleum products on the international market.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama is asking commercial banks to support the real sector, the economy, by extending the required credits to small businesses. The governor made the appeal during a meeting with managing directors and chief executives of commercial banks at the headquarters of the Bank of Ghana earlier today.
We therefore call on banks to support the real sector, to expand credit to productive enterprises, especially the SMEs, and drive innovation that enhances access and inclusion while managing risk. Let us turn this recovery we've seen so far into a financial system that is both stable and catalytic in shaping Ghana's prosperity.
Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama. Now, overnight travels accounted for more than half of the domestic tourism spending of 6.6 billion Ghana cedis in 2023. This was captured in the latest domestic visitor survey report put to Ghana by the Ghana Statistical Service. We have details in this report.
These are the visits that were undertaken by persons who actually slept off one night or more. In terms of numbers, there were 15 million domestic tourist trips in that year. Now, out of that, 8.8 million were undertaken by persons that slept for a night or more. Majority of the travels were influenced by family visits, friends, and funerals. In terms of age brackets, majority of these persons were between 22 and 44 years. Whilst in terms of gender, there were more women than men. The about 6.6 billion spent in 2023 went into mainly transport, shopping, food, and local services. Again, transport operators, traders, food vendors, hotels, markets, and informal workers all did benefit from spending in that year. The development shows tourism is not about international visits, but rather there is a huge domestic opportunity that remains untapped and that should be encouraged. For government, it presents a fine opportunity for an improved road network, rest facilities to help strengthen domestic travel. The Ghana Statistical Service also believes that this data could also go a long way to shape Ghana's 24-hour economy.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, Dodge Health Insurance, is in partnership with MTN Mobile Money, is making available a flexible health insurance package for over 12 million MTN subscribers on its platform. Chief Executive of Dodge Health Insurance, Frank Dubai, says that this is very important in helping expand services across the country.
Momo by MTN has a large following, over 12 million. That is a huge population to deal with. So with this population we have, launching onto their platform, we are actually having access and making ourselves available to this number of Ghanaian population. In other words, we are affecting the population through Momo by MTN. If you go onto if you download Momo app, you can have access. If you dial *915#, it takes you onto the platform and you follow the processes and you sign on.
Pandai is Chief Executive for Dodge Health Insurance. Now, Multimedia Group, in partnership with the Greater Accra Poultry Farm Association, has rolled out a festive season initiative dubbed X Max Egg Market to supply eggs and poultry at reduced prices to consumers, whilst helping to ease the ongoing glut-facing local farmers. Head of the sales chief executive for the Greater Accra Poultry Farm Association, Mohammed Ali, is encouraging the public to take advantage of this offer.
What we try to communicate to the public is that price of this farm produce by our members have been reduced. Within some few weeks ago, there's a cry about egg glut. Farmers have reduced their prices, but the public are not enjoying the reduction in prices as we try to portray. So we are giving the opportunity to all to come to Joy FM premises on the 19th and 20th to come and experience the farm gate prices. Come and experience a crate of egg as low as 40 cedis and as high as 45 cedis for the bigger eggs, and you will never get anywhere. We want the public to enjoy this high reduction in farm gate prices.
Greater Accra Poultry Farm Association, that is President Mohammed Ali. Now, Silver Star Autos officially launches Peugeot 308 and its Peugeot Landtrek pickup. Speaking at the launch, the General Manager of Silver Star Auto, Rabi Aja, highlighted the true essence and strength of these modules.
The Peugeot is made for today's lifestyle. Bold design, smart technology, and comfort that fits city life, the work life, and most importantly, family life. The Peugeot Landtrek reflects a hard-working Ghanaian spirit, strong, dependable, and ready for business, adventure, and every road in between. Today, these vehicles represent Peugeot's commitments to innovation, style, design, and real value for Ghana.
And that is the General Manager of Silver Star Auto, Rabi Aja. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Kenneth.
George, thank you very much for bringing us the latest in business. Now time for sports, and Musbao is here with the latest. Musbao, what do you have for us?
Yeah, Ken, well, the Ghana's Black Galaxies, who are the local Black Star players, as we often call them, they played a game against South Africa. It was a farewell game for South Africa as they prepared to head to Morocco for the AFCON. The Black Galaxies were edged out by 1-0. It was a very closely contested game, which took place in South Africa, with a chunk of the players being drawn from the local side. So South Africa won that game. But let's stay on the AFCON still, because we are now just 4 days away from the opening game between Morocco and Comoros in that all-important AFCON tournament, which of course the Black Stars would not be participating in. Of course, it's starting on Sunday, the 21st of December. It will run until January 18, when the final will be played. In fact, this is the first time the competition is taking place across the Christmas and New Year period, and it also marks the second time Morocco will be hosting the tournament. Well, Ghana will not be there, and the Ghana Football Association is emphasizing that it's a missed opportunity for the Black Stars.
It hits you harder when the time approaches. You know, we regret not making it to the AFCON. Last year was not the best of years for us in the AFCON qualifiers, 6 matches, no win. For which reason we couldn't qualify, but I think we've picked a lot of lessons from that debacle. It would have been nice to see Ghana there. Unfortunately, in Cameroon, we exited at the group stage. In Cote d'Ivoire, exited at the group stage, so it would have been great to be at the next tournament in Morocco. But it is what it is. We've put it behind us. There is no point crying over spilt milk. Life must go on, and we believe that we'll be back stronger.
Yes, well, Kenny was just telling me that you did not know the AFCON is happening.
What a shame.
Well,
what a big shame.
Indeed,
that
indeed.
A heavyweight like Ghana is not going to the AFCON.
Yes, so it's starting on Sunday.
Unbelievable.
And, starting on Sunday. Of course, Ghana is not there, so you're not feeling so much of the excitement. But Morocco and Comoros will play the first game on Sunday, and we'll bring you more update as we build up to it throughout the week.
Thank you very much, Musbah. Let's now head to Parliament, where the minority in the House has opposed a provision in new Bank of Ghana Act amendment bill which sought to compel the central bank to consult government in determining medium-term inflation target. The minority strongly raised the concerns on the floor of Parliament during the passage of the Bank of Ghana Amendment Act Bill 2025. Listen to Ranking Member on the Economy and Development Committee of Parliament, Kujo Opon Nkrumah.
We are not saying that the central bank should not determine medium-term inflation. In fact, if you go to the original Act 612, it starts off under the Section 3 by saying that the primary objective of the bank is to maintain stability in the general level of prices. There is a reason for which, as part of the broader economic policy, when it comes to the maintenance of price levels, that is devolved to the central bank. And there's a reason for which it is supposed to operate independently. So while we agree that it is a good idea to bring in a clause 3A to expressly announce the determination of medium-term inflation, we are warning you that if you now in black and white say that the independent central bank should now do that, shall determine this jointly with the government, you are even sending wrong signals at the lowest level. Today, you may believe that you are a good finance minister who is well-intended and that you are only seeking to coordinate. Tomorrow, what if the person in that chair decides that he now wants literally to have fiscal dominance in making those inflation targeting decisions. And so, Mr. Speaker, my proposed amendment, and I'll leave it here, my proposed amendment is that let us just delete the words jointly with government, so that you also don't fall into this hole that is now becoming clear, that the executive literally wants to start dictating to the central bank.
So that's the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee of Parliament, Kojo Ponkroma. Let's now bring in our resident correspondent in Parliament, James Aveji, for more. And James, this is not the first objection from the minority. There was an initial concern over the procedure. Tell us more.
Well, Ken, that position was raised by the minority leader himself, Alexander Markin, and the bill was brought to Parliament and read for the second time today, and they were going to proceed with the correction of the provisions in that particular bill, which he believes that the consideration stage should have been shelved to a latter day, and that they shouldn't have been considered. To the cited example about how the majority in the last few weeks tried to push through some of these bills which hit the rock at the end of the day. Makes example of the lithium bill, for instance.
It is now the norm. It is now the norm from the new majority that every bill, certificate of urgency, if it is so, I want Hansa to record that this all-important bill that has just been introduced, today, everything must be taken. Is that a new norm, certificate of urgency, Mr. Speaker? This is a new norm. Every bill that is brought, before you realize certificate of urgency. Then we sit in this house, so far, we sit in this house and civil society organizations will raise issues. When civil society organizations raise issues, then you are quick to come to this house. When parliamentarians are raising matters because of their partisan interests, you don't listen. Mr. Speaker, I would want to say that it would be wrong, Mr. Speaker, to take this bill through certificate of urgency same day. Let's tread cautiously. It happened in the lithium agreement. Honorable Abu Jinapo raised it here. Our colleagues opposite defended it when Imani and other civil society organizations came in and added their voice. You now came to this house humbly withdrawing and now calling for stakeholder consultation. What is the urgency? When MPs do not get the opportunity to scrutinize, go ahead. Your masters, the CSOs, will be at your throat.
James, how was this resolved, and really what was the response of the majority side to the substantive matter of the Bank of Ghana determining the medium-term inflation target jointly with government?
Well, Ken, the two sides eventually agree that they can't proceed with the consideration stage, and so they proceeded to work on the bill. Now, to the issue about compelling the BoG to consult government. In fact, the provision itself, the second provision, read that the BoG shall determine the medium-term inflation target jointly by government. And so the Finance Minister, Dr. Kenneth, who was on the field, justified this. He said the government had no bad intention in doing this, and that this is according to international standard. In fact, he said Ghana is currently under an IMF program, and this is not something the IMF would accept if indeed it is intended to curtail the powers of the independence of the BoG.
Today, Ghana is in an IMF program, and there is no way a government of any country can introduce a bill that seeks to take powers from the monetary authority that the IMF will approve it. Mr. Speaker, the amendment before us is only sticking to international best practice. And Mr. Speaker, let me explain. Mr. Speaker, monetary policy alone cannot anchor inflation. It doesn't matter what you do. Monetary policy or MPC's decision cannot determine what inflation will be.
And in today's fast-paced world, finding time to truly connect as a family has become more important than ever. Experts say spending quality time together not only strengthens relations with families, but also builds emotional security and lasting family values. Well, this Christmas season, Joy FM is creating that opportunity for families in Ghana and those visiting from the diaspora with its annual Party in the Park. Here's a report by Noella Karinyale.
In a world where busy schedules, screens, and daily pressures often pull families apart, experts continue to stress the importance of quality time together. Spending intentional time together away from routine and distractions allows families to reconnect, laugh, and simply enjoy each other's company, a foundation for stronger family values and healthier relationships. This Christmas season, families in Accra and those visiting from the diaspora are being offered the perfect opportunity to do just that. On December 26th, the scenic Ibri Botanical Gardens will come alive as Joy FM hosts its annual Party in the Park, a picnic-style, family-centered event designed to bring parents and children together in a relaxed, fun-filled outdoor setting.
You have the Daddy's Corner, where daddies can have their time and enjoy what makes daddies happy. We have the family cooking competition, where daddy and mommy and the kids can come together. We also have a place where you can just go and relax. You don't want to be around the table, you just want to bring your mat and relax. We are creating that ambience for you.
Families can also look forward to cooking competitions, sack races, fun outdoor activities, and hours of entertainment with live band performances, artist appearances, and DJs keeping the atmosphere lively throughout the day. Families are encouraged to come along with your picnic mats, friends, and loved ones and be a part of a memorable day dedicated to bonding, laughter, and togetherness at the Joy FM Party in the Park, happening December 26th at the Ibri Botanical Gardens.